I'd like to start by thanking everyone for their well wishes. I had the flu about 2 weeks ago, and this past week, I somehow caught another type of flu. I know there's a bad stomach virus also going around, and thankfully I didn't get that. So, according to StatenIslandLive.com, the shooter of Frankie Cali, Anthony Comello, pled guilty to manslaughter and has already been sentenced to an undisclosed amount of prison time and is at an unknown location. The article additionally stated that due to actual and implied threats against the defendant and his family, a resolution has been reached under seal. I would assume, and I could be wrong, that he pled guilty to manslaughter in the first degree, which is a Class B felony, and means that the person intended to cause serious injury, but instead killed the victim, which carries a maximum sentence of 8 1/3 to 25 years. He was originally charged with murder in the second degree and 2 counts of criminal possession of a weapon in the second degree also. Briefly, on March 13, 2019, Anthony Comello drove to Frank Cali's Staten Island home, backed his pickup truck into Cali's Cadillac SUV, which brought Cali out of the house, at which point Comello handed him the SUV's license plate that had fallen off. And it was at that point he must have told Cali something along the lines that he was placing him under citizen's arrest. And according to Comello, Cali replied to him, "What are you fucking kidding me? You don't know who I am? I could have killed you. You're lucky I don't kill you here and now," and turned to walk away. Comello then pulled out a 9mm and shot Cali 10 times. Initially, investigators believed it was a mob hit, possibly caused by Cali bringing in new members from Sicily. However, within 3 days, Comello was arrested in New Jersey. Naturally, after killing Cali, his life was now in jeopardy. And it didn't matter how mentally ill he was. Prison was an unsafe environment for him, which is why I believe he's being kept in a mental hospital for criminals. Depending on what he was sentenced to, he's been incarcerated since March of 2019. So this coming March, he'll have 6 years in. Let's say he received 8 years. That puts him 2 years away until he sees a parole board, unless he's sentenced to a flat bid, which means he'll serve whatever the flat number is. Comello's family has money. For instance, for the past 30 years, his mother has an executive position with Mike Bloomberg, so I'm sure his lawyer managed to get him a good sentence. As mentioned, according to Staten Island Live, the plea agreement was reached due to actual and implied threats against Comello. To be honest, I can't imagine anyone tied to Cali sending this kid threats. It's not the way the Sicilians operate. And I could be wrong, maybe things changed, but they would want a guy like Comello to serve the least amount of time possible, get out, and then plot their revenge, even if it took years after his release. There are still people who believe someone put Comello up to doing what he did, and everyone has the right to their opinion. Personally, I go by what law enforcement, the FBI, told me after Cali's murder was investigated, and by what Comello himself displayed. He was definitely no Lee Harvey Oswald. Following his arrest, Comello offered contradicting explanations as to why he killed Cali. He admitted to taking Suboxone and smoking pot near Cali's house earlier. Suboxone is a drug used to treat opioid addiction. Comello also has HIV that he contracted from a stripper and said he was blackmailed into killing Cali and that people were going to expose his illness. He also believed President Trump not only supported what he did, but would protect him as well. When Comello first entered an Ocean County, New Jersey courtroom before his extradition to New York, he flashed a scrawled left palm with the words MAGA, Trump's slogan, Make America Great Again, United We Stand, Patriots in Charge, USA, and a large Q, representing the far-right American political movement known as QAnon. 3 weeks prior to Cali's murder, Comello showed up at the federal courthouse in Lower Manhattan in an attempt to make a citizen's arrest on 2 Democratic representatives. The following day, he traveled to Gracie Mansion to conduct another citizen's arrest on then Mayor Bill de Blasio, and made remarks about Democratic Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, being involved in electoral wrongdoings. He also claimed that on his cell phone was information regarding human sex trafficking and drug smuggling, all signs that display he clearly had mental issues. That, coupled with his drug use, was a toxic combination. This was a person who knew he had HIV and may have felt that death was hovering above him. Ultimately, a judge deemed him mentally unfit to stand trial. The one thing that stood out the most to me was the fact that he seemed totally unfazed as to whose life he took. Putting Cali's position within the Gambino family aside, he was related through marriage to the Inzerillo family, who during the early 1980s had to flee Sicily to escape the wrath of Totorina. Cali was someone not only respected throughout the American mafia, but more importantly, by the Sicilian mafia as well. He was viewed as the main link to the mafia on both sides of the world. His death impacted a great deal of important people and was a concern not only to the Gambinos, but also to the Sicilians, who wanted answers as to what took place. I was told, due to Cali's importance and Sicilian connections, the FBI went to Comello's family and immediately offered them the witness protection program. But the family, specifically the mother, respectfully declined. Apparently, Bloomberg has his personal security team protecting the family. If you haven't liked this video yet, please do, as it helps with YouTube's algorithm. And if you'd like to show your appreciation for videos like this, or to help me continue making them, you can do that by donating with the Super Thanks icon down below, or through the PayPal Cash App links in the video's description. If you think about it, the result of most murders leaves many lives ruined. Chief among them, the victim, because that person's gone. And in this case, the shooter, 24-year-old Anthony Comello, is in prison and will be for an unknown amount of years. Cali's wife and young children unfortunately ran out of their house and witnessed him lying on the ground. She just lost her husband, and 2 kids lost their father. Comello's family has to live in fear of retaliation, as well as worry when he gets released from prison. Any parent would naturally want the least amount of time for their son in this situation. But will Comello's release in a few years cause him to meet the same fate as Cali? Only time will tell.